Wahed Invest LLC is a SEC registered investment advisor. Yeah, we're talking about money today. Wahed Invest provides brokerage services and its clients through its broker's partner, Apex Clearing Corporation, a member of NYSE, some other letters, and regulated by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Wahed does not intend to offer or solicit anyone to buy or sell securities in jurisdictions where Wahed Invest is not registered, or a region where an investment practice like this would be contrary to the laws and regulations. Any returns generated in the past do not guarantee future returns. All securities involve some risk and may result in loss. I think I just crushed that, bro.
You did a good job.
Yes.
I'm proud
That was
of you.
amazing.
That was great.
Yes. That was
I should be like,
wonderful.
Like on those drug commercials where it's like, you can make that. You're like, whoa, go back, Dad. What do you mean? Guys, we just had to do a disclaimer. That's how you know this podcast is going places. We did a disclaimer for the first time on this podcast, which we probably should have been doing one.
Yeah, especially if we...
What a milestone, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we're going corporate, y'all.
Yeah.
We're happy we're the first ones to contribute to that.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
Exactly.
So this is a type of topic that we've never hit on. Usually we talk about marriage, parents, lifestyle, but this time we're going to talk about not only halal investing, but just to educate everybody on smart financial decisions to make, which I think is very important, especially in the world we're in right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I got money in a shoebox, and I want to know, what do I do with that money in a shoebox? Because apparently if your money isn't somewhere making money, then it's a waste of money and it's going down. And but then there's the people that are like, well, if you put in we got a lot of questions that we aren't the ones to answer, but we brought two guys in here that can answer them. It's going to be a good, dope conversation, because the technologies that are at our disposal now is pretty dope, especially for the Muslim community. So without further ado, let us open up this podcast, my friend.
Let's kick this show off, baby. 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everybody? This is Jabril Salam.
And Muhammad Hassan.
And you are listening to the Young and Muslim Podcast.
Asalaamu Alakum, everybody. Yeah, it's like Jabril had mentioned, we got some money on the table today.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And we're not talking COD. It's not cash
guys.
on deck. We're trying to find a way to put that cash, right? So we got brother Kareem with us and brother
Asalaamu Alakum.
Zaki.
Salams, everyone. Thanks for
Eid
having
Mubarak.
us.
Yeah, thank you guys
Eid
so much
Mubarak.
for having us. We're fans of you guys, and we appreciate, the collaboration, and inshallah some of your viewers can, learn some stuff today.
They can make some money, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to help you. So, as the disclaimer says, you may or may not.
Yes, correct.
So right now, you guys work for the company called Wahed. In Arabic, Wahed means one.
Yes.
Correct. So
it does.
tell us, how did the company start? A little more about the company.
Well, before y'all go into the company,
Yeah.
who are you guys? Like, we just got these two
Sure.
representatives here. Who are you guys, and then what and who is Wahed?
So to give you just a quick, point of who Wahed is, we're an Islamic investment platform that's basically a robo-advisor. And we're technically a fintech company, but we are in the investment space. My name is Karim and Zaki. I'm the head of business development for the U.S. And I have a lot of, we're kind of like in a small startup phase, but we're kind of a little bit past that. But I still wear a lot of hats, and so does Zaki, my colleague. He'll tell you a lot more about that. But we definitely wear a lot of hats. I'm client facing. I do collaborations, like with, people like you guys. Nice. We host talks with different MSAs, Islamic organizations. I help with, strategy and how to grow the U.S. client base and how to bring more people in. There's a lot that entails with my job. And alhamdulillah, in the short amount of time that I've been here for around, 2 years, we've definitely leveled up and succeeded. Nice.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that intro, Kareem. Yeah, my name is Zaki Faziliar. I've been with Wahed for 3 years. I'm also on the front end side, client facing operations, 401ks, rollovers. Hey, if you guys want to open up a retirement account, just give me a ring, shoot me an email. Inshallah, we'll talk more. But definitely a great experience. We kind of just want to bridge the gap between retail investing and access to the stock market, right? Gotcha. That's something in the Islamic space that's been very taboo, and people didn't understand it. Mm-hmm. Not everyone studies finance and accounting, but that's what we're here for, to open up the doors and allow everyone from all ages to, inshallah, get involved in this, while also staying ethical and being efficient at the same time.
Well, I think that's the biggest point, right? Like, I don't want to have to go to school to study this, to understand it. And being where we are now, where it's like everything is at your fingertips, right? You guys, it seems like your company, as well as you guys with the work you do, have created something where I don't have to go through all of that because I have trusted advisors on an application, which is really cool. So how does this application work? Let's say I'm brand new. I came, I got $2,000. I just slapped it into my bank account. What is the process? What do I do with it? How does my money go from 2,000 to maybe 3,000 or maybe 1,600? Like how does that happen?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there, so we'll probably go back and forth. Zaki will tell you a little bit as well, but we try to make this as easily accessible to everyone. And most people, we're in the tech age, right? So everyone's on their apps, especially millennials, the younger generation. We want to make this easily accessible to them. One of the biggest things, in the Muslim community is financial literacy is at an all-time low. And that's not just the Muslim community, it's other communities as well. But, a lot of Muslims don't understand, how the stock market works or how they can invest in a way that follows our beliefs. So first of all, the app itself, we have an app, we have a platform online that you can log into. And, the first thing we want to make sure is you understand what you're getting into and you're not just, dumping money in, right? So we have a questionnaire, that's, several questions that kind of gauges what kind of investor you are, how long you've ever invested. Have you not ever invested? Right? What would you do in certain situations? And then once you kind of go through that questionnaire, at the end, our platform, as the advisor, will recommend you guys a risk level. And we have 6 different risk levels, from very aggressive all the way down to very conservative. And depending on which one you choose, it will allocate your money in a different way. Okay. But we wanted to definitely make sure that, every single investor, no matter if you're new to the game or if you've been investing your whole life, you take that questionnaire so we can kind of make sure that we put you in the right spot, or at least the platform will recommend the right spot.
So with that questionnaire, right, because what I think is important before people even jump both feet in regards to investing, a lot of people don't even understand the terminology. Yeah. Right. So let's talk about some of that terminology before you jump into the technology, such as what is Roth? What is a traditional Roth? What is a stock? What is a bond? What is a note? What is... Let's go over that terminology, because once you have the understanding, then you can figure out the level of comfort you are in regards to investing and what works for you. Correct.
So we have several different types of accounts that you can open with us. We have retirement accounts. Zaki's like the king of that. He handles that division. And a lot of people roll over their old 401ks to the platform if they choose to. The most standard one that we have is just the individual investment account, and there's no monetary limits on that account. Whereas with retirement accounts like Roth and traditional, there are limits. In America, you can only deposit up to $6,000, and if you're past a certain age, I'm not sure what age it is. You guys should always check, before you deposit into a retirement account to see the age, limits and all of that, and how much you can contribute, to your listeners, by the way. So they have, limits to how much you can contribute every single year. And then we have the regular investment account where, it's unlimited. And they both work the same. You just choose whatever risk level you want to be on, and then it's kind of, managed the same way through our platform. Gotcha. And then we also have SEP IRAs for business owners as well. Okay. And eventually, inshallah, we'll bring in, college savings accounts and other types of accounts that are really, really popular nowadays. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, that was great. Just to summarize, I know Karim said a lot of great things about the platform, really in depth, but just like an overview, holistic vision. You answer a couple of questions. We recommend the risk profile. You link your bank account, and then you fund. After that, you just sit back, relax, monitor your performance. We take it from there.
Nice.
I mean, we're here to do all the heavy lifting. You just put your account on autopilot, let your investments work for you in the back end. We understand, people have 9 to 5s, they have families, kids. no one has the time to sit there and look at charts, fundamental analysis. Like nobody has the time for that.
100%. So can you decide how involved you want to be? Like you say, if I want, I can put the money in and I'm chilling, right? I don't look at the app for maybe a week. All right. But then there's also the people that are like, I put my money in, I want to be checking on it on a regular basis. Is it just something where it's like your money's in and then you check on it and that's all you can really do? Or can you, decide like not so much like day trading, but hey, like I'm on the app and I'm like, I want to move this here, move that there. Or is it one of those things where it's like, maybe you should just kind of sit back a little bit?
Well, you definitely have that flexibility of choosing how much allocation to risk that you'd like to have. So risk, I'm just talking about stocks. Because stocks are the volatile ones, right? They go up and down, right? So on a short-term basis, our platform, we're not meant to be day traders. We're not hedge funds here. We're not a get-rich-quick scheme, right? We're more so designed as a long-term investment platform that helps grow your wealth into publicly traded companies. 200 stocks in our fund, Sharia compliant, big names, Apple, Tesla, you name it. So yes, to answer your question, you do have that decision to, do I want to go risk on or do I want to go risk off? You get to control that, that direction you want to take.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool. It's cool.
Do you guys have like a list of, because I think it's all about education, like I mentioned. Do you guys have a list like, hey, out of all the Fortune 500 companies, these are the halal companies? Is that some type of info that you guys provide?
Yeah.
What makes a halal?
This is like the essence of what Wahed is, right? That's a great question. On our website, if you guys go to our website, www.wahedinvest.com, on the menu bar, it says ETF. If you click that, it will take you to our main page for our ETF, which we, by the way, launched in July of 2019 on the NASDAQ exchange. It was a wonderful day. We'll probably talk more about that later in the podcast, but yeah, you can go on there and we have all the current holdings that's in the index and you can download it. And there's over 220 companies in there. It shows you the allocation percentages as well. Just keep in mind, all these companies have, and Zaki will probably talk more on this, have bypassed, the Sharia compliance. But throughout the year, sometimes, they might change, right? Maybe some company will take on heavy debt, or they'll dabble into more interest. So you have to be wary about that. And the good thing about Wahed is we purify all of our accounts. So even though we're in these companies, at the end of the year, we will purify your account to make sure that, if any of these companies did change and they don't meet our standards, then we have to purify that amount out of your account.
Got you. So when you say purify, what do you mean?
So, basically, what's a good example?
Like a filtering process?
Yeah, basically like a filter process. We'll take a look. Just for instance, Tesla is in our index, and if they bring on a lot of heavy debt that pushes them over the threshold, then we would have to look at that company very seriously, or at least purify that amount that they overstepped.
Got you.
So we go above and beyond.
Nice
for the client.
So what about companies that say they have multiple different sectors, right? So let's say like a Target, something, right? Take a Target, but they sell things that or one side of another, people may say it's haram. Let's say alcohol. I've heard different things that because it's only this percentage of their company and they do X, Y, and Z else in their company, that it is on the side of it's proper investing. You know what I'm saying? But then I've heard the other side where it's like, astaghfirullah, alcohol, no. So how does that work when you have companies that are in multiple sectors and they tick multiple boxes within that portfolio?
So I get this question all the time, and we actually have Target in our fund, by the way.
Sweet.
So the thresholds are like a company cannot generate more than 5% revenue in alcohol, tobacco, and so many other. But we'll stick to alcohol, right?
Yeah.
If it's under 5%, let's say 3%. So someone may say technically it's still there. Haram. What do? We take that and we purify it, right? We don't count that in. If there was a capital gain accrued in your account, that will send you a report, say this money you have to give away to a Muslim charity. But the purification intention is that you can't give the money away and say, oh, this is my zakat or this is my sadaqah. No, this is like separate. Like this is just you having to give it away, and that's all, and forget about it. But the rest of your capital gains is halal and earned for you, so it's a good.
So it's it's mostly halal, so I'll just mix it in. But you're like, no, we're going to take this, purify it, so it's cool to go. I like that.
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
dope.
And we have an ethical review board as well that, we will, if we ever want to offer our clients, different type of fund, or, we're looking at companies as well, they'll make sure to look it over and deem them as responsible and Sharia compliant. And then we go by AOFI principles as well. They're the governing body based out of Bahrain. And they kind of came up with the Sharia principles in Islamic finance and what's acceptable. So we definitely, abide by those rules. And then on top of it is our ethical review board full of Islamic scholars that, have done this for or studied, this subject for their entire lives. So we kind of, go by their word, and if they agree with this or agree with that,
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we spoke about the technology. I'm glad we spoke about the investments. But I think it's important now that we talk about the people, right? In the Muslim community, what do we consider assets? And can you debunk some of those stereotypes? For example, a father's, Brother Shah going to pass away. He said, I've given my son 2 of my cars or this gas station. Tell us what's an asset. What's the liability? Our moms have a whole bunch of gold and silver at the house. Can they do anything with it? Because that's where we're currently at. And as the Muslim youth, a lot of us don't even have more than, $1,000 in our savings account? You know what I mean? So I think let's meet the people where they're at and try to grow their portfolio and grow their knowledge while we go through this episode.
You want to take this one?
Okay, sure. So an asset is something that appreciates over time, right? Not cars, definitely not. It's a liability. But something that over time increases in value based on how the economy is looking like, right? Like supply and demand. So definitely jewelry, gold, those are good commodities to own. Liabilities are more like your cars, like designer clothes, if, the youngins are into that. And those kind of things just depreciate over time. So your money's not really growing. It's kind of just...
So what about like collector's items, right? Because 20 years ago, people were saying that Pokemon cards were a liability, but now you're seeing Pokemon cards that you bought in a pack for $5 sell for thousands.
Yeah,
are collectibles kind of in that same scheme? Because I watched this this auto show auction, and you see these old 1960 Chevelles and Mustangs and everything like that, and they're selling for people bought them for $4,000, and they're selling them for $110,000. So is that considered an asset, or is that in a different area?
I mean, I think the world's just changed. A lot of people are starting to collect different things, right? Like even sneakers. Like I love sneakers, right? And now sneakers are assets, right? Just like art has been an asset class for a long time. Yeah. And now it's even stronger than it was before, which is crazy. I don't know. I feel like if you're a good collector, you should be a good collector before you get into it.
You can't have no creases in that Pikachu card, bro. No one wants to buy that Pikachu card with the crease at the top.
Oh man, you burned me with a Pikachu because my mom just threw out all those cards back in the day, and I had a great collection too.
You're like, Mom.
Yeah, man. It stinks. But yeah, at least if you're going to collect something, hopefully you know what you're getting into, and you're not just burning your money. What I've seen for a lot of clients that I've talked to in the Muslim community, a lot of them invest in real estate, and that's been the biggest thing in the Muslim community is real estate, which is a great investment, right? Anyone will tell you that, right? But they're also lacking, by not going into the stock market as well, which is another way that can be less headaches. Instead of dealing with a house, you have to buy it, fix it up, flip it. The stock market has helped other communities excel and be able to build for their generations, right? So that's why Wahed is so important to the Muslim community, and that's why we've grown so much in the last, in the 4 years that we've been around. We have over 100,000 clients globally now. We're available in over 130 countries.
Wow.
And we do free financial literacy webinars. We try to do that. We don't want to charge for any of that. We really are trying to help the community step up their financial literacy knowledge and not to be scared of the stock market. So like that's a big thing. Yeah. Like a lot of people, first of all, they don't know what the stock market is. They always hear like, I'm gonna lose all my money.
Yeah,
right?
The crash.
That's like the biggest thing. There's a crash, right? But if you actually like go and educate yourself on it and read up on it a little bit and understand it, you'll realize, that is completely, different than what you always hear, like, crash or recession and stuff like that. So, and like Zaki always tells me this, like all of our retirement accounts in this country are hooked up to the stock market. They're tied to the stock market, right? So if you have a 401k right now with your current company, which most Americans do, you're invested in the stock market. So, hopefully where your money's going and how it's being invested.
Yeah. So I do want to ask questions about what you guys were saying earlier about risk assessment. And generally, I know about three different things. You have your stocks, bonds, and then you have your commodities. In no particular order, which ones are more risky? And then, like, from risky to safe, which of those three would you?
I would say the risky is the stocks, because that at the same time gives you growth. But at the same time, you can take losses, right? If the stocks pull back. Yeah. Your more conservative ones are like your gold and your bonds, or Islamic bonds on our platform called the sukuks. Those are more used in turbulent environments of the market, times where uncertainty is rampant. We've seen last year, in 2020, there was a huge sell-off, then like a rampant bull run rally. Then everyone was risk on, want to get, a piece of the stocks and all that. So that definitely people realize, like, look, like, yes, there's a pandemic going on, but at the same time, the stock market's not going anywhere. People realized a lot of stocks are sold off. They wanted to take risk on, and, people made a lot of money during that time. But from a long-term perspective, it definitely depends on your age and your goals. Like, what are you saving up for? A house, a car? You're trying to get married? So that kind of helps you understand your risk tolerance and how you want to approach your investments, because nobody wants to just go all risk on during, like, for the rest of their lives, because it wouldn't really make sense.
You're not supposed to do that. Dang, I need to get the app then, because I've been doing it all wrong.
Yeah, it really depends on your age. You see a lot of younger investors are a lot obviously more aggressive because they have a longer runway in life, and you see a lot of older investors that are obviously a little bit more cautious with their money, because they, most likely have saved a good amount for retirement, and they don't want to really risk that. So it's really, it definitely depends on, your age, and then, what you're trying to save for,
So because the stock market is so volatile right now, right? And Zach had mentioned a bull market. Yeah. A bull market, I'm assuming that everything's going well. Yeah. And then a bear market is everything that's going real slow.
Correct.
Right? Just an analogy that's made. Because the stock market is so volatile, people are probably thinking, when should I get in? How should I get in? And where should I start?
Well, yeah, we both love talking about this. Like, we could both either answer this, but we usually timing the market is the wrong thing to do, which is what a lot of experts will say. Because you'll always be afraid. Like, okay, when should I jump in? Is it high right now? Is it low right now? Should I jump in now? If you're always going to second guess, right? There's different methods that will help you when you invest your money in the stock market, like dollar cost average or averaging down. We probably don't have too much time to explain what that is, but for your listeners, they should definitely go look dollar cost averaging up, and you can literally come in at any point into the stock market, and there's going to be periods of volatility, and it's going to be there forever, right? The stock market doesn't go up like this, forever. You know? But if you look at the history of the stock market, the trajectory is pointed northeast, right? But you see a lot of ups and downs. I'll let Zaki continue on this subject, but I wanted to point out when COVID happened, the market tanked, right? And we have a lot of novice investors, because a lot of new investors, because a lot of Muslims are new to the stock market, right? So when that happened, people didn't know what to do, or some people didn't know what to do, some people did know what to do.
Yeah.
And knock on wood, I think that it actually helped increase financial literacy for a lot of our clients, because a lot of our clients actually didn't leave from the platform. They just stayed.
Nice.
And what a lot of investors will do in those situations, like if they're new to investing, they'll panic and sell, right? But once the market roared back, as you said, in a bull market way, and it crushed after that, I think a lot of our new investors saw, okay, the market can go down, but it can also come back up and go even higher if I'm patient. Yep. So it's all about patience, you know.
Just to piggyback on that, I mean, there's never a good or a bad time to get in. It's as long as you get in, kind of an approach, right? And the goals is huge. And with the investing, now it's like with GameStop and AMC a couple of months ago, everyone wants a piece of the market now, right?
GameStop. You know how many group chats I was in where people was like, "Yo, do GameStop." I was like, "No, right. I'm good."
Number one trend.
Hashtag to the moon, rocket emojis. Yeah. So nowadays it's like the approach of, why try to be a day trader, right? It's kind of hard, right? Like, instead, let the market work for you. Just invest, because there's a difference between trading and investing. Trading is like when you try to make that quick scalp, you see 5-10%. Let me take that off the table. Yeah. Then you get more of a gambling perspective. It becomes speculative. You're like, I think it's going to go up here. Let me just put my money in. Sometimes you have a higher trajectory of losing when you try to trade in the markets, as opposed to investing long term. People who invest their money long term, end up doing better than people who try to day trade. This is a real statistic. It says 90% of day traders lose in the end. It's 90%. Yeah. It's only 10%.
It's stressful. I remember when I first invested, it was in March when COVID was last year when it first started. I put in like X amount, and then now it's almost like 150, 200%. And since then, I haven't taken my money out or invested in anything else, because I was like, I can't go on the app every single day and look at it's too much on my heart. Correct. It's way too much stress. I'm just like, you know what? Let me put in there and just I'll do the Warren Buffett type of mindset. But I'm listening to other podcasts or other people that are like, well, Warren Buffett's kind of, how can I say it? It's kind of outdated now. I think you have to pay attention, because when you see that 1,000, those 2,000, that 14,000%, it might be smart to trade it, get that money, then find the next thing. So I'm trying to figure out that balance. You know what I mean? So is that something that you guys can kind of help with?
I think emotion plays a big part when it comes to money, right? Like happy, sad, and the market doesn't care about anyone's emotions. It's brutal. So I think with our approach is like going on autopilot is the best approach. Like with our recurring deposit feature, you could set it weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. Every time you get paid every other Friday, who knows, right? Just let it work for you in the back end. You don't have to check it every day. Automatically money goes from your bank to your app. We invest in the securities for you. You just sit back, relax, and monitor your performance. I mean, it's just easy as that.
So you guys have like a wealth management type of ability on the app. So like it's like almost the money can come directly from my bank account and go straight into the app, and then go to wherever you guys recommend, or wherever I'm like, yo, I want it in this specific stock or this specific mutual fund or something like that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Depending on the risk level, whatever risk level you choose, you'll see on our website it allocates it differently. So, for example, we have the very aggressive risk level, right? These are investors that want to make as much money as they can, and they'll take the biggest risk. Obviously, high risk, high reward. And on that level, about 95% of your money will be put into our index fund, and then we put 5% in gold. And but as you see, right, 95% of your money is going into stocks, right? So it's the highest risk, but also high reward if the stock market performs well. And we always stress to people, you don't want to check it every day, right? Just as you said. You don't want to check it every single day. It's going to drive you crazy, right? Most people that check it every day are day traders, right? But we don't have day traders on our platform. And, one of my favorite Warren Buffett quotes is when he talked about the stock market, he said that, it's a tool designed to transfer money from the impatient to the patient. That's huge, right? So, and Warren Buffett didn't make his $1 billion in 5 years. He made it over a long period of time, right? He didn't make it in 5 years. So it's all about patience. you know. And if you kind of follow that philosophy, inshallah, you'll be good.
I know in this business there's no guarantees, as we read in the disclaimer.
Correct.
You guys may make or lose money. Don't forget that, all right? But when someone does go into the stock market, based on obviously the risk that they're going to take, whether you're like low risk, high risk, what, I guess, according to your app, gives the biggest returns in say like a 10 to 15 year time span? Like, is that like short term or is that long term?
I think anything over 12 months is long term. Like if we just look at capital gains taxes, anything over 12 months is long term. What makes the biggest return? Probably very aggressive because all your money is all in the equities, right? Stocks are going to give you that growth long term. I mean, gold's mostly there for hedging. Stocks pull back, commodities might tend to rise. Same with the bonds, more as a cushion. But long term, definitely stocks is like, if you are a young investor, you want to have, an investment account that you can rely on long term down the line in the future. Definitely, very aggressive. Again, this is not advice, but high risk, high reward again. Very aggressive would be, the best bet for the younger investors that they would like to approach that way.
Yeah. So I know we said we're not going to go into politics, but I think it's important when you invest that you stay abreast, because Joe Biden just put another capital or wealth tax out there, and a lot of people are upset.
Correct.
He's trying to get after those people that have Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So, is that something that you guys also like look after on the app? Like tell people like, hey, there's a new wealth tax that just came out. Do you educate people on that? And when you just mentioned, can you tell us a little bit more about that capital gain tax? Say I made a whole bunch of money. What happens if I pull it out within 12 months?
Oh, you owe Uncle Sam some money. He's going to want his piece of the cake, right? So, I mean, if you hold the shorter amount of time you hold a stock, the more you'll pay in taxes. And the longer you hold the stock, the smaller percentage of taxes you'll have to pay in the end. So there comes the dynamic of long-term investing. The longer you hold it, right, the less you'll pay in taxes.
But that's only if you, let's be specific, that's only if you cash out. Like, for example, if I have a stock and I sell it, right, but it's still on the app, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
You only get taxed when you take the money out into your bank account.
Well,
is that correct?
When you sell it at the same time, it still gets hit with the realized gain. We technically sold your securities, convert it to cash. It's still a tax.
So cash is like the middleman.
Wow.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah.
Dang it. See, so there's no getting away from that.
Potentially get taxed twice.
Well,
or
I mean, I'm not a tax professional, so I don't want to go down that line. But
when it comes to taxes, we always tell our clients, refer to your tax advisor. We're not the experts in it. But the good thing about retirement accounts, though, like the Roth or the traditional, is they kind of force you to not pull out your money, right? Because if you pull out your money before you retire, you're heavily taxed.
Yeah.
So that's a kind of a vehicle that the government kind of helped, or is helping Americans keep their money in for a long time and not pull out, which is, typically the best way to invest your money.
Gotcha. So I told you guys in the beginning, I have money that's in a shoebox. And I'm being dead serious. I have money that's sitting in a shoebox somewhere. Nafisa, do not go into my shoebox.
Run up on them.
I have money that's cash. I have money that's in the Roth IRA. I have money that's in the stock market. I have money everywhere, right? Including my savings account. Where should my money be if I really want my money to grow? But don't say the Wahed app, okay? That would have been cheesy. Don't say that. I saw it in your eye. I saw it in your eyes. Don't say that.
Collect sneakers.
Where is the best place for our money to go if we want it to actually generate more money?
Well, there's a lot of vehicles that you can put your money into. Like a lot of people are putting their money into index funds. We have obviously an index fund, but there's a lot out there.
And what is that?
So an index fund is basically a collection of stocks in one basket, right?
Okay.
So instead of you going to the market and you're putting your money in Apple and Microsoft in two different companies, you can spread it out and put it into this one basket that has, hundreds of companies in it. So like you guys have probably heard of the S&P 500, right? There's 500 companies in there, the best, in the country. And that's an index fund right there, right? They're meant for kind of long-term growth. And usually the fees aren't too high as well. So that's a place that you can consider. A lot of people do, flock to gold as well, as Zaki was saying. What do you think? Do you have?
Yeah, no, it's good. I think so. Nowadays, the misconception comes in where like people are still hooked on mutual funds. We're in the millennial age, right? Maybe 20, 30 years ago, mutual funds made sense, right? But when we take a step back and we look at them, they usually come with layered fees. They don't really have a goal in mind.
So what is a mutual fund, by the way?
A mutual fund is just another basket of maybe 40 to 50 stocks, but it's actively traded by a manager to reach a specific return or percentage, which is really hard. So he's trying to actively beat the performance of the S&P.
So he is your day trader, basically.
Essentially him and his team of analysts,
Okay.
But research shows that over 96% of the time, these guys fail to outperform the market because nobody could tell the future, right?
Yeah.
So he's trying to, for example, if Costco's in there, it's doing bad, he'll trade it out, put Walmart in. Walmart's doing bad, he'll trade out, put Target in. So he's actively trying to beat the index. But we know that it's hard to actively day trade and try to beat the performance.
Yeah.
So fast forward, now to modern day, a lot of people have seen the attraction to these index funds where they're cheap in cost, higher diversified, and long term it makes sense from a tax perspective, from a return perspective. I mean, even Wall Street loves them now too. So
yeah, nice. So I want to get into you guys. I know you guys just partnered up with a banking app, right? Correct. I want to get into that, but before I get into that, I think this is something that a lot of our listeners are going to be very interested in: marriage, right? They're very interested in their house, right? They're very interested in these long-term, well, maybe marriage is short-term for some of you guys, but very interested in these kind of life milestones, right? And I already asked, if you want to invest for 10 years or 5 years, what's the best thing to do? But let's talk about specific things. So, if you're looking at marriage, right, and say the next 5 years, what type of investing do you see on your app happen the most when people have certain goals, whether it be a house or whether it be a car? What are those people on your app investing in currently?
Sometimes it's just hard to gauge because it depends on the age, right? It depends on where you are in life, and what you're investing for. But when you say 5 years to me, right, you have 5 years in this market. That's a long time. So you could, I would say the most popular risk level that we have is the moderately aggressive risk level. It's kind of like an all-weather portfolio. You have some sukuk, right, which are the Islamic equivalent to bonds. You have some of your money in the stocks, and then you have some money in gold. So it's pretty spread out. Just in case anything happens with the market, you won't take as big of a hit as the guy in the very aggressive level. And then you also, just in case the market does, kind of go through correction mode or goes down, you have sukuk to kind of help you with that volatility. So I would say that level is probably the most popular one. And then when it comes to saving for big things like, Hajj and weddings, you want to look at, your time horizon, how much, you have, and then how much you want to put into the stock market too. And, what most experts will say is don't put your whole life savings into it, right? You always want to have enough saved for a rainy day and more, and then trickle it in as well.
Got you. So can you use your, because I have money that's sitting in the bank, and I remember one of our conversations off camera was, if your money's sitting in the bank, it's losing money. So what do you do? Do you still keep a savings account? Do I take that money out and keep it cash, or is it smarter to have an investment account that I use it, in my head it's a savings account, but I leave it there so it can accrue some money? From a Sharia perspective, we don't really endorse the savings account, but there's nothing wrong with having two checkings accounts, right? One is technically your savings, the other one is your day-to-day bank, money that you can use. But having money in cash, of course, inflation's on a rise, 2% every year on average. So your monetary value is decreasing, right? That's where you want to put it into an asset where it's appreciating over time. And I think we can pivot back to the whole autopilot scenario with the recurring deposit. Not even, with the Wahed app, just generally speaking, into any investment, if you're on a frequent deposit into that investment over time, you're going to accrue a lot more than that person that,
just lump sum dumps in and just like throws up a prayer, right? Like a Hail Mary, right? So over time, if you're frequently into it, I think it makes more sense to build an actual like core position in that stock or that investment.
Yeah. And just so you know, we don't call them Hail Marys, we call them Bismillahs. So
love it.
That's amazing.
Love it.
So you spoke about inflation, Zaki, which I think is very important. I was at McDonald's a few days ago. I don't go to McDonald's much, and I was like, "Hey, can I have a small fry?" The lady said $1.99. I said, "What?"
Wow, what happened?
And my wife's like, she's like, "Yo, just chill." I was like, nah. I was like, what do you mean? It was like 2 a.m.
That's crazy.
I was like, what happens with 99 cents? She said, the dollar menu's done.
What? The dollar menu's not the dollar menu.
I was just like, are you serious?
Yeah. Oh my God.
They got the value menu.
Yeah, I was just like, what? It's like, she's just this. What it is.
Yeah. Only Mo would trip over.
I feel you, Mo. I feel you, bro.
I'd be heartbroken too.
If it's hit McDonald's, imagine everywhere else that's going to come to. So that's why cryptocurrency has been on the rise, because a lot of people feel like the dollar itself is losing value. So I hear all the time in regards to decentralization and why cryptocurrency is going the wave. Can you just hit on that a little bit? You don't have to go into any specific coin, but talk about why that may be appealing to others outside of the typical U.S. dollar.
Yeah, so very surface level, I mean, people want to replace the U.S. dollar, right? Like, that's the world reserve. Oil has to be bought with that. Countries, when they borrow debt, it's always paid back, and like typically in U.S. Denominated debt. But the crypto itself is something very unique that they want to pretty much substitute for fiat currency, right? Like, we've seen Bitcoin's trajectory in the past 5 years and how it's come up exponentially, thousands of %. But people kind of look over the true value that it's a way to store value. It's a way to store funds. It's a way to replace different paper money, if you want to call it that. But the actual core technology behind it is what also a lot of people ignore. But cryptos definitely is the new craze nowadays. Definitely proceed with caution, do your due diligence. Very, very risky. But long term, I definitely feel like there will be a handful remaining out of the current 11,000 crypto out there. There'll definitely be a handful. So definitely do your due diligence, proceed with caution on that. What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, I mean, crypto is just taking over, and it's just the dynamic of like investing nowadays. Like, you have the younger generation that most of them have never invested before, right? And like from like the millennials down. And now, like, we're all tech heavy. We want apps. We want to know what's going on, and I think a lot of people are starting to get into it. The technology behind a lot of these is really good too. They help solve business processes in a quicker, more efficient, cost-saving way too. If you look at some of the technology like Ethereum, no plug, obviously. But yeah, I mean, there's always me and Zaki, we're always watching, we always read like financial news, right? And we see what a lot of experts say. There's always room in the future for new asset classes to come about and be developed, right? It's going to be interesting to see what crypto coins survive and if crypto actually can become an asset class. It depends on the U.S. government too, right? And the Fed, if they want to regulate it, which will kind of, what would you say, like make it more official if they regulate it? But I think some of the crypto guys don't want that. But
how can they regulate it though? It can't be regulated though.
I'm not an expert, but no, I'm sure they can try to regulate it
through taxes.
Through taxes,
through the gain tax.
How you got
basically Uncle Sam will step in.
Yeah, because like you said, because the Federal Reserve is not behind it and it's ran by the people. And what I do like about the blockchain, while doing my research, is that everything is documented. For example, right now, nobody can tell me how much money is in the world. You can't, because like you got people like Jabril. You're right. What do you mean? What you mean? You got people like Jabril that have cash in his shoebox.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah. So you can't.
Yeah.
And then he can give. So nobody knows. But with the blockchain and with crypto, as soon as Jabril got that payment, I know. If he sells it, I know. So it's the ledger, right? So everything's on paper. So now, like you said, supply and demand. Yeah. So we know the supply. right, the demand obviously fluctuates. You know, so that's what makes it appealing for me.
You know, one of the things I think is the easiest way to explain crypto is something I found out looking at a cryptocurrency. I'm not going to reveal it because I'm trying to make sure I get my money in that first. But basically, I was doing some studying on a lot of West African and East African cities where they actually use cell phone minutes, like prepaid minutes, as currency.
Wow.
So,
okay.
like, y'all remember we haven't had that in a while, right? Like, we're spoiled with unlimited everything. But what they do is, like, if I go to the store, I can transfer you my prepaid minutes for that mug or your laptop or what have you.
Okay.
And they deemed it as like a currency.
Wow.
And this isn't something that's like super widespread, but it's like if me and my homeboys or my town, we use it as our currency, that's what we deem with value. And I feel like that's, for me, once I saw that, I understood cryptocurrency way better, because now you're looking at a currency that's emerged from technology. It's been coded. There's a limited supply, and you can, and I guess like with the cell phone minutes, you have to buy it and purchase it, which is the same deal. Like, you know, you have to go to the store, you got to purchase it, whatever. But with crypto, a lot of people were confused, and I was confused until I realized there's a cap on it. You can't just keep buying. Eventually, it has to run out. So
that's true.
That's where I think the true value comes in, right? If there's a capped amount, then that's where, you know, the supply and demand dynamics come into play, right? Like if you look at like the US dollar, right? They can print as much as they want, right?
Yeah.
And
they showed us during COVID.
They definitely did, right? Yeah. Apparently over 30% of all money in circulation was printed in the last year. Yes. Based on the M2 money supply. Yeah, it's insane, right? So crypto having a cap, right, it brings more of a scarcity value to it, right? Like, oh, I need to hold on to this because not everyone can have it, only a certain amount. So based on low supply, higher demand, you'll see that massive shift in its value. And you'll see that the people that hold the crypto or these blockchain technologies will, you know, definitely benefit in some way or another.
Yeah, I think also like with crypto, that there's a big lack of education on it too. Like so many people don't understand it, right? They don't know what Bitcoin is. Like, how does it work? I hear it every day.
TikTok.
If the education is improved in a way that, you know, the basic, you know, American can understand it, or the basic person can understand it that's not financially literate, then that will, you know, help it, you know, grow and grow and grow. So I think a lot of people, you know, you probably ask like, you know, most of your family members, they don't understand it, you know. So I think education in that field is very, very important.
It's scary because I have people, you know, whether it's no plug, Dogecoin or Safe Moon. They say they're going to the moon. I'm like, what do they do?
The moon, man.
You know
what do you do once you get there? There's nothing there.
Everybody trying to go to
Everyone's trying to go to the moon.
But it's a lot, which kind of sucks because I've seen social media influencers start like a crypto YouTube channel and they get big because they just start throwing out jargon. Everybody follows them, gets advice, and whether it crashes or not, they don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're getting money off the views and they're getting they're already doing their own investment, but they're not really going to tell people what they're getting. Or that's my assumption.
Yeah.
So what are some more products and services that you guys provide? Can I buy crypto on the Wahed app, or like tell me a little bit more about that?
No, you cannot.
Okay.
But we're not going to eliminate that. You know, in the future, you never know what happens, right? Yeah. But for the time being, we looked at it. It's a little too risky. You know, for our clients, we're fiduciaries, so we want to make sure that we do the right things, for you guys, as our client base. But, you know, we did have actually a webinar on it like 2 months ago. And, you know, from the majority of, you know, the scholars, they think it's okay. But, you know, eventually, you know, we might have it. We do get a lot of questions on it. One big thing that we touched on, that you guys touched on earlier, was the NIA banking app too. So like going back to like banking and savings accounts, right? Most people in the West, you know, have savings accounts. They collect interest. We bought this banking app, out of the UK, called NIA. With an H at the end, and you guys can go sign up. Actually, it's getnia.com, and then there's like a wait list that you can sign up on. This is gonna, inshallah, revolutionize and change banking forever for Muslims, because it's basically interest-free banking. So we eliminate the savings accounts, And, that way everyone's happy. You don't have it in a Western bank account and, just interest every single year. And this is, going to be like one of our strongest arms for Wahed Invest. And we're very, very proud of the acquisition. And we think, that's going to help even change, the way Muslims manage their money and invest their money too. And it will, inshallah.
So you guys provide the application, the platform, and the software to help you with proper investing, making intelligent decisions, and you have a financial banking arm where you can put your money in and it doesn't accrue an interest. By the way, I have Wells Fargo. The interest is so small on it that I don't
yeah.
Guys
so
looking
small.
at that
Really
guys like, that's you're good. You're good, bro.
literally.
He's like, that's it?
So let me ask you a question about cash back. Is that considered halal with the cash back? Because it's considered, I don't know, is it still your money, 2%, 5% cash back? Because that's been a huge wave that's kind of hit the streets right
that's
now.
a good question. I mean, I'm not really versed in that.
Yo, if you tell me cash back is haram, bro, I'm snapping.
Because credit card companies usually do that, right? I don't want to say the wrong answer. Zaki, do you have anything on that, on cash back or?
Nah, I guess we can skip that one.
We'll come back.
I want to
you can always, if you know any Islamic scholars, you can reach out to them. Like a lot of them are very open. We collab with a lot of them. Mufti Faraz, we just did a webinar on zakat with him. So like they're very open. You can now everyone's accessible nowadays. Instagram, Twitter, you can really tweet these guys and
nice.
they'll kind of tell you their methodology. That's a good question, though. I can't answer that.
Yeah, no, that's
nice.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys about NFTs because we got into collectibles and art and then crypto and NFTs kind of meet that middle point between what is a collection item and what is fundable. Like what actually can be used to buy things. And we're looking at NFTs. I think the biggest one sold so far was like 76 million or something like that. I think it was like it was this famous digital artist and
Beetle something.
I don't know what the guy's name was. It's some guy, man. And I was listening to this podcast. I think you sent it to me, and it was really impressive because he was like, I've known about NFTs for years and years and years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he was like, it's just something that finally popped off. And in a nutshell, go do your homework, do your research. Yeah. Like, we need to wait and see and kind of dive deeper into NFTs. And we're not expecting that, but what do you guys see with NFTs as far as it being a viable asset?
Well, I'm a big art guy. I'm a big art collector. Like, I collect art. And I'm big into antiquities as well. And at first I didn't like it because I like physical art. Like I have art all on my walls. Like I like to look at it, like to touch it, like to feel it. Actually, I don't really do that. Don't do that, by the way, if you have nice paintings. But I'm also a forward thinker, right? So like, there's a lot of questions with NFTs. And I actually attended a couple webinars on them. I still don't fully understand them too much. I know they're on the Ethereum blockchain, but what I see is, in the future, if we go into like virtual reality mode, then you can have a virtual NFT art gallery, right?
That's
exactly.
That's nutty, bro.
So that's where I see it going if it goes there, and that would be valuable, But as an old school guy with art collector, I like the physicalness of it, but I don't want to count it out. And
I'm going to play devil's advocate. I've heard NFTs are just a tax write-off for the rich. Yeah.
There's no artist.
Probably.
I mean, it is unique, right? You own the original piece of it, but like, what true value does it have? Anyone can go see that same picture if they want on Google Images, right?
Bro, they just sold, it might have been today or yesterday, they just sold the Charlie Bit My Finger video on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, but they took it off of YouTube to do that.
They did. So now.
I would take it off YouTube too.
So for instance, like we were thinking about it for our podcast, right? Like, let's say someone was like, "Yo, I want to buy you guys first ever episode. I own the audio, on the video to it, and the first pitch we ever took together, right? It's like, all right, cool. Well, you guys own it, and then I guess like whatever they want to do with it, right? Like that's like I look at it almost like music. If you own the masters to the music, whatever that's on, you get the money for it. So let's say we took a picture right now, right? Whoever owns that picture and they put it on, say, they put it on a poster or a billboard, and that makes money, they make the money off of that picture, not us.
Because they own the rights to it.
So it's like, it's kind of in that same vein of like copyrights versus, mastering rights and things like that. Yeah. And that's just from the basic research I've done. But you're right, it's deep, man.
It's deep, man.
Where the future's going is crazy.
I saw a story of like this, I think it was an estate or an auction house that had a Basquiat, and they were auctioning it off as an NFT, and whoever basically won the auction can burn the real Basquiat.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And that, I was like, right then, I was like, no, what is going on in this industry, Yeah. But also like, kind of having knowledge of the art industry, you do see like auction houses like Christie's and Sotheby's now auctioning off NFTs. So like, they're getting into the craze too, which might legitimize it. So yeah, it's an interesting world. I kind of can't wait to see what happens there, but
it's still early. Yeah,
still very early.
I'm with Zaki over here.
Yeah,
look, they're
super early.
They're going to be real blown when the Wi-Fi goes off and their phone can't charge up. Your NFT is nowhere to be found.
So I think we should have hit on this earlier, but what is like the mission of Wahed? Because I feel like if you talk to a lot of Muslims, like, brother, you just focus on the dunya too much, man. Trying to get after this investing app and this, that, and third, that's all you're worried about. So I'm sure you have some people that kind of approach you, and what do you kind of say to shift their mindset?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically to help Muslims not be scared of another way that they can grow their wealth, right? Like, I don't know too much about real estate, so like, taking that first step, can be a little difficult, but if we can kind of help them understand it in a way that also follows our deen and, follows, Islamic principles, we don't invest in any alcohol manufacturing companies, pork manufacturers, gambling companies, stuff like that. If you know that we're not involving your money in interest and, it's acceptable by, AOFI guidelines and Islamic scholars that studied, finance their, entire lives, then, you feel a little bit more comfortable, and then just being, like an app, especially in this day of age with Robinhood, and Webull, all these other companies are all on apps now. It's easily accessible. You can monitor your account like literally every single day if you want to. As we said before, don't do that or don't try to do that, but you can. And then it's just, and then we have easy process. You can withdraw your money easily, deposit money easily. So
to add on that was great, Karim. To add on that, I think the whole mission is to eventually be that one-stop shop for all Islamic products, necessary. You got your investments, you got your banking now, you might get the insurance with the takafful to come. So like, eventually, right? Why go to Geico or anywhere else, right? All there on one big super app, right?
I like that because Robinhood was under fire because they were doing unethical things when people were making money, and people were finding another place to go. So it's good to know that, hey, look, it's cool to make money, but we're making sure that we do the right thing, deen first, and we have a board of what is it called? Board of scholars on there. There isn't any scholars on Robinhood. There's all people out there just trying to make money, and they don't care either. They get it one way or another. So
there's none. And we're a Islamic investment robo advisor firm, and if we pitched ourselves in a different way and we're misleading you, like if you're come to Wahed but too bad we're going to invest your money in these haram companies. Then that's fraud. You can't do that. A lot of people love us because, they can at least trust our methodology, and then you can invest with us if you want. If not, you don't have to. But, we're doing it the Muslim Sharia compliant halal way, and alhamdulillah, it's worked out very well, since we...
I had one more thing to add to that. So if we look at the Muslim population in the U.S., we're fairly small. It's only 6 million. But if you look globally, it's over 1.2 billion. So then the actual reach comes, how do we scale to all Muslims around the world? Asia Pacific, Africa, Middle East. That's where they truly need a product like this to save for retirement, insurance, all the banking stuff that come with it. So I think long term, our focus will gradually, of course, be the U.S. Always, but the global. Like we need to take care of the Muslim people that are around our brothers and sisters around the world that we've never seen their face or heard of them, right? But they need something like this. They need a product that can, at the end of the day, look out for them.
And that's why I wanted to ask you. I'm glad you segued into that. Where's your customer base? Because a lot of people haven't heard you guys. Right, that's probably the first time they've ever heard you guys. The first time they've ever seen you. First time I've ever seen that logo. Where are you guys at, and where are you guys trying to go in regards to customer base?
I mean, we're global, right? So we've been around since 2017, so we're still fairly young. Honestly, like when I outreach to different organizations, I love hearing like I always ask, have you heard of Wahed Invest? You know, I would say like 40% of them would say no, and I love hearing that. You know, because yes, okay, I get to educate you on who we are and how we're changing the scene in the financial industry, not just in Islamic finance. Like this is like something that, you know, American companies are looking at, you know, and banks and stuff like that. Actually, that's a different tangent I'll go off. But we have global offices in Dubai, Kuala Lumpur, United States, obviously in New York, and then here in Washington D.C. and London as well. We are opening up in the great continent of Africa in Nigeria this year, and in Saudi Arabia as well. And we're working on that office right now. But eventually, you know, we want to expand. We want to be the entire globe where there's Muslims everywhere, and it's accessible to them, you know, everywhere. Obviously, you know, opening up in certain countries, you have to go through different licensing, and it could be difficult. But you know, we're making it our mission to punch through those walls and to become that, as Zaki said, the one-stop shop globally for Muslims to invest in. You know,
So I want to talk a little bit more about the security. Fraud is on a all-time high right now. I'm sure fraud has always been an all-time high.
Yeah.
But I bank with Wells Fargo, inshallah. After this, when you guys get the big and help, I'll be 100% Wahed, right? They were opening up fake accounts, right? So Wells Fargo was doing some unethical stuff. So not only do we have to worry about hackers from the outside, there's hackers even on the inside that have control of our money, and that's very scary.
Yeah.
When I figured out they were taking pennies out of people's account, they wouldn't even notice. Like if somebody took a penny out of my account every single week, I wouldn't know that. Right?
That's
you
true.
wouldn't know that. So, and they were opening up accounts too, so they can make commission every time. So next thing you know, one person could have been passed away, and they opened up 15 different checking accounts for them. So. Tell us a little bit, so tell us a little bit more about like your security. How do you protect your customers from fraud? And
I think on the Wells Fargo thing, I think wasn't it like their sales? Oh, I don't know. I don't want to go into it, but I think they were just opening accounts to hit quotas or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They were opening accounts to hit quotas to get paid.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Especially like in a banking institution. Hopefully that's all settled out for those people.
I mean, look, their logo is a stagecoach riding off with your money. I'm not too surprised.
Oh man, Cowboys, man. No comment.
They told you guys right then and there.
Zach will probably touch up more on this because he's kind of like the expert on this side. But we do have a custodian called I probably won't name them, but they're the ones we don't like house all the money, right? Like Wahed, we don't have like a bank and then like, you know, you deposit your money, it goes to Wahed, right? It goes to our custodian who handles all that and all your security and all your data.
I think we can say their name. They're called Apex Clearing. So Robinhood used them for a really long time. So these guys are like the intermediary that holds custody of your assets. So Wahed Invest, we don't touch any of your money. It's being held by Apex. The onboarding is done by Apex, KYC. You know, there's an actual stringent process application that you have to go through. You could be rejected if you don't meet the qualifications. At least for the U.S., you got to be at least a green card holder, have an SSN or ITIN number. So we'll do the background check just to verify you are legit. If not, you'll get a call from me and you'll hear from me.
Nice. Well, guys, thank you. It sounds like this is the app for the young Muslims, the old Muslims, the newborn Muslims, anyone that has a little bit of money, they want to put it, they want to figure out how to grow it. And the fact that you guys have an educational point in there, you know, that's a big part of your app. That was the first thing you guys said, is about education. And that's greatly appreciated, because when there's so much information out there, there's so much misconception about the stock market and bonds and, you know, all the things that you can put your money in or lose money going in with this app. From what I've looked at, from what you guys have told us, is something that is going to change the culture. And I think you were getting ready to go on that. We've noticed in the history of Muslims, when we start doing something, the world catches up later and it becomes the norm. So I look at this and I say, you know what, this is really the future of investing and banking, and I'm glad that you guys, one, got us to be the first to do a disclaimer, but two, that we're
shout out to
we
our
have you guys on
compliance
here.
team. Shout out to Musa and Pretty.
Is the app available on, iTunes? I mean, not iTunes, the Apple Store or whatever. Android.
Yeah.
App Store, Google Play Store. You got Android, you got iPhone. Go ahead and pick it up.
And we're also actually launching a newer version like later this year, which is going to blow you guys out of the water. It will help you guys save for different things. There's going to be a lot of goals and stuff. We'll
keep that a secret.
Let's keep that.
We'll make that a surprise for everyone.
Yeah. You guys keep watching.
Keep that on the DL.
Stay with the podcast, and you guys will see later on what happens with Wahed. What version is this going to be?
2.0.
Yeah, 2.0.
2.0, guys. Stay on the lookout for that. So how can people find you guys? Is there a website? Is there Instagram? Is there social media? Where can people find out more about this wonderful app?
We have social media. Like, we're very active on it. Like, find us on Instagram at Wahed Invest, Twitter. We're on LinkedIn too, if you guys are professionals on there that post a lot. Facebook we have a really big following on Facebook too. And, YouTube as well. Yes, our YouTube page. Inshallah, we'll put this podcast on there too, and let them watch it through there. And man, word of mouth. I think the biggest what I love about the Muslim community is word of mouth. Right, everything spreads like wildfire through word of mouth. Right. Oh, what are you investing? Oh, what is this? Before I even started Wahed, actually I got hired a week later. I went to my parents' house out in Virginia, and then they had family friends over, and one of their friends asked me like where I'm working at, now, and I told them about Wahed, and they're like, "Oh, I have the app." I was like, "Oh my god, okay,
that's dope."
Yeah, that was amazing to see, and that was like my first week. So, but yeah, you can find us on all social channels.
Got a good job.
Yeah, and also like if you guys are MSAs or if you guys have a big Islamic center or whatever, we do virtual financial webinars too. Once COVID's done and we can travel, we used to travel all the time. Like Zaki he came before me. He used to be in different cities like every week. And he'll tell you more about that. But yeah, we do these. We've done like MSA webinars like Brown University, Ohio State, UC Berkeley, like, University of Texas. Me and Zaki did one like a week ago for them, which was amazing. And a lot of younger people are coming into the market with really good questions.
Nice.
Right? So those are very, very good and fruitful because we're helping step up that financial literacy.
Nice.
Oh, and our website, wahedinvest.com.
Yeah. I mean, you pretty much nailed it, Karim. Find us online, Google, social media. We're young, we're hip. Reach out to us. I mean, we're more than happy to help you guys. We want this to grow as big as possible, especially amongst the millennials, right? Like, if you're a millennial and, you want something of like a niche Islamic investment, like, I mean, look no further. I mean, hopefully we can tailor the best that we can to you. But thank you guys so much.
Yeah. So a lot of kids are graduating right now, right?
Yeah.
If they want to pursue a career path with you guys, and you guys are growing very fast, are you guys hiring? How can they do that?
Yeah, they can always send us their CV to either info. Actually, the best email would probably be info@wahedinvest.com.
Okay.
And yeah, we're a global company. If you don't live in this country, we have other offices in other countries, and eventually, we're not going to be 100 employees only. We're going to be, bigger than that, inshallah. Nice. So, we're going to need the community help to grow, and we're trying to help the community grow as well. So, yeah, you can email us there and go on our website too. There's links that you guys can.
If you are a university and you have a massive MSA, feel free to reach out to us, and inshallah we could host a webinar for you guys.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice. Well,
sure.
You guys now know where you can find the best financial app for Muslims and, frankly, the world.
Yes.
Go to Wahed, look them up, find them, hit them up. Make sure you guys are putting your money where it can make the most benefit. All right. But you guys know how to find them. But if you guys want to find us, Muhammad, how can people listen to this podcast?
So make sure you play this episode on repeat. You can find this episode on any major listening platforms such as Google Play, Pandora, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, mashallah. Just go online, just look it up.
Amazing.
And Jabril, if they want to shoot us a direct message or watch this episode, how can they do that?
Yes, if you guys want to shoot us a direct message, you guys want to talk, you guys want to hit us up about where we're putting our money.
Oh yeah,
not in our shoebox, but on the app. You guys can hit us up on Young and Muslim on Instagram and Twitter. That's YOUNG, the letter N, Muslim, Young and Muslim. If you want to see these beautiful faces, the nur in our faces, you guys can find us on YouTube. That's the Young and Muslim podcast. Make sure you guys search Wahed, and we'll be right there waiting for you guys.
Yes. Time to wrap it up.
Let's get it. So for the last, how long have we been on, bro?
110.
Ooh, for the last hour and 10 minutes, you guys have been listening to the Young and Muslim podcast. I'm Jabril Salam.
And Muhammad Hassan.
And this is
Kareem, Wahed Invest. Thank you guys for
Zaki.
having us and hosting. That was amazing.
This is great. Yeah, my first podcast, but inshallah, many more to come with you guys.
Inshallah. Hey, he got the podcast bug. I feel you.
Let us know what you spend the shoebox money on. By the way.
I got you. All right, we greet you with the greens of peace.
Asalaamu
Alaikum.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace.